Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here at Semicon West in San Francisco, and I'm joined by Jonathan from Semi. Jonathan, thanks for stopping by to talk. You've released some data on some of the trends. Give me a bit of a high-level overview of what's going on in the semicon market at the moment.
Great, thanks Phil. It's good to speak with you. It's an exciting time here at Semicon, and the industry is hitting on all cylinders. We're having another banner year. We're expecting the industry, the semiconductor equipment industry, to grow over 10% this year. In excess of $62 billion, almost $63 billion. So really strong growth. We're expecting next year to be another very strong growth year, maybe another 7% growth, approaching $68 billion in worldwide semiconductor equipment sales. So that strong market is contributing to the enthusiasm here at the show and all the activity.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in the assembly and packaging equipment segment, that this year is growing about 8%, and it'll be about a $4.4 billion worldwide market for that as well.
Wow! So when we look at these markets, there seems to be this real impetus at the moment, and it's an impetus that seems to be maintaining. You're predicting the same in 2019. Normally, this industry is quite cyclical. Why are we bucking that cyclical trend?
Well, it's very rare that we have 5 years of sequential growth in the equipment market. So we're really on a unusual trend, and it's really the pervasiveness in silicon. The era of artificial intelligence building on the Internet of Things, and silicon going into everything these days. Autonomous driving, you name it, the applications contain silicon. So it's the proliferation of consumer electronics and products that are driving silicon demand.
Yeah, and you mentioned AI. That seems to be a sector that's getting everybody excited, not just from a point of view of silicon going into AI, but where AI can be used in the manufacturing process as well. Are a lot of your members talking about AI and how they can use it as well as the market opportunity? Sure.
I think the whole industry is awaiting sort of an inflection in the use of big data and artificial intelligence in the manufacturing process. As you know, in the advanced processing, it's already very highly automated and uses a lot of data. But the advent of artificial intelligence will bring whole new capabilities to fab operations planning.
And artificial intelligence, like all these other things, requires a huge amount of talent. Talent's a big challenge, not just in this industry, everywhere. You've got this smart workforce thing going on. Tell me a bit about that and what Semi is doing to bring talent into the industry.
That's right. Workforce development really is one of the critical issues facing our industry today. There is a shortage of highly skilled, qualified talent. Here in Silicon Valley alone, there are literally thousands of open, unfilled positions. So Semi's rolled out a new workforce development initiative, and you can see it actually has a physical presence here at the show, in an attempt to recruit and retain talent within this industry. Our strategy has several components. One is beginning at the beginning, and it's really reaching out to young people and inspiring young people and creating awareness about careers in the high-tech industry. So over here behind you, we've got the Semi High-Tech U program. We've got a room full of students that are learning about the semi industry and high-tech in general. And we're hoping to inspire those people to continue a path in STEM education, and hopefully eventually to look at careers in this industry.
Yeah, and you've got an event this evening, I think, that's connected to that.
We've got a fundraiser for the Semi Foundation this evening, and it's an after-hours party. It starts at 9 o'clock, which says something about the people in the industry now that 9 o'clock is after hours. But we are hoping to bring more of the young people in. We're also looking at diversity and inclusion in our industry. We have a mentoring program to help support all young people, all young professionals, but particularly women in the industry who are disproportionately represented, particularly at the executive ranks within our industry in particular. So in an era when we have real workforce challenges, it doesn't make any sense to sort of ignore half the population.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that all the different industries are looking at how they can get that inclusion and diversity. But when I talk to companies, they're telling me that teams, the more diverse the teams are, the higher the creativity, the higher the performance of those teams. So it's very, very valuable. Another section I noticed you got here was automotive area. Obviously, you mentioned that in terms of some of the end user markets, but that's a sector that's exciting for the semicon industry.
Oh, sure. Automotive, of course, is a real driver of silicon demand these days. Upwards of 10% of silicon is going into automobiles. A state-of-the-art advanced luxury car has thousands of semiconductor chips, and as they start driving themselves, they'll even have more. And the data generated from that car is going to further demand processing power and chips.
And that's going to roll out into smart city and a whole bunch of other applications. It would be remiss of me not to mention global trade. Some interesting stuff going on there. What do you see from a semi point of view with respect to tariffs and everything that's going on?
So that really, in addition to workforce development, that's the other great challenge in our industry, or great concern at this point in time in our industry, is the trade environment. Semi's long been committed to free trade and open markets. We are a global industry, and we promote trade, and we promote trade connections. As I think the world knows, the United States has recently leveled tariffs on China, imports from China. And that started with the announcement by President Trump in May of $50 billion tariffs on products totaling about $50 billion of imports. I went to Washington, D.C. and testified at the International Trade Commission. There was a list of about 1,300 products that were on that proposed tariff list. And I'd asked for removal of about 100 products that directly impact semi-member companies. We got that winnowed down to about 80 product lines, still $25 billion of products that impact our members. Tariffs went into effect, the first round of tariffs went into effect July 6th, so last Friday. And that's tariffs on about $34 billion of products across the board. The Trump administration also announced an additional $16 billion of tariffs. And we're very concerned about 20 tariff line items that we think will have implications of about $500 million for semi-member companies and added costs. So we'll be lobbying for the reduction of tariffs or the removal of products from the tariff list that impact our industry and our members.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing we want is tariffs to get in the way of this excellent growth performance we're having, and that needs to be managed as well as possible.
That's right. I mean, there's reasons behind the tariff concerns, but in principle, we're strong supporters of free trade and open and global markets. So if we could get all those things to occur, there's nothing going to stop this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And clearly it is a global industry. Most of the companies here that we see are global players, so it needs to have that global impetus. Jonathan, thanks for talking to me. Absolute pleasure.